hand over to CA Deepak Gupta ji to take forward the proceedings for today. Deepak ji.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, C. Ashwini. This topic is quite very interesting, emotional intelligence, like C. Ashwini mentioned. I would today's session will be taken up by Dr. Binu James Mathew. He is quite well known between us. I would just like a brief introduction of Dr. Binu James Mathew. Dr. Binu is an assistant professor and former deputy head academic quality assurance unit at College of Banking and Financial Studies, CBFS, Oman. Dr. Mathew has 25 years of teaching, training and research experience in English language and general management subjects. Previously, he has worked with University of Mumbai and Institute of Management Studies, Mumbai. He was a naval and sub-lieutenant in Mumbai during his tenure with University of Mumbai. Dr. Mathew holds PhD degree from IIT Bombay, MA and MPhil research in English, MBA in customer relationship management. He is certified as a Cambridge University CELTA qualified teacher. Also been a corporate trainer conducting training in general management and soft skills that includes business communication, intelligence and leadership, customer relationship management and teamwork. Has presented papers at several conferences and published his research papers in national and international journals. So I would like to, without wasting too much of time, I would like to hand it over to Dr. Binu to take today's session. Dr.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Deepak Gupta and CA Ashwini. Thank you so much for this invitation. And as we all are waiting patiently under this lockdown situation, it may be something of introspection for us to think about how emotionally we fit in our workplace and in our personal lives. Okay.
Dr. Binu, your voice. No, we cannot hear you.
Is it better?
Yeah, we can hear you, Dr.
Okay. Okay, I think, see, Ashwini, you're on mute, I believe. Okay, I think I'm already sharing the screen. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are you able to see the screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Oh, okay, that's good. Okay, so welcome to this session on emotional intelligence, and in general, it's a topic, and in particular for those, I will address the issues with those who handle money also, for those CAs, those who handle money. Okay, with this introduction, let me go to this. I think you all know what that means, this picture. Am I right? So on one hand, you can see that there is a heart. The other one, as C. Ashwini was mentioning about it, it's a combination of the heart and the brain. Many of the times we use our brain to take our decisions. At the same time, sometimes we fall into you have to consider the heart element also. Or perhaps vice versa. Unknowingly, we take decisions based on our emotions. And what is appropriate? Let's have a look at this moment. Okay, first of all, this topic will be covering the emotional intelligence, EI and leadership, and how the emotional intelligence is important for those CAs and how stress is manageable. And towards the end, we'll talk about the emotional intelligence actionable ideas. So the first thing, as it was mentioned in your, in your handouts, in your information, can you go to this website called www.icai www.menti.com using preferably your mobile phone and answer the question, why are you attending this EI session? There are options for you to choose from. So it's called www.menti.com and you can use this code 562494. Are you able to log in there? www.menti.com. Are you able to hear me, or is there any issue with the audio?
We can hear Dr. B.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that's all that people have taken the response. You can see 56 people have joined the session to know more about EI. 6 people were very honest to say, well, I was feeling bored at home, and I am not surprised at all. 13 and 42%, okay, 40% also are, okay, let me just remove this. I'm able to remove the screen. Yeah, to improve my EI, that is 40%, to fill up my CPE hours, no one has yet chosen. Okay, so thank you so much for this. Okay, I'm just closing this Mentimeter. This was just to know why are you attended this session. So most people, as I had guessed at the beginning, had attended this session mainly because they want to know more about EI and how to improve their own emotional intelligence. And that's good to know. Okay, let me go back to our slides once again. Okay, this I think, I may not ask you, but what are emotions? It's basically a mental state that arises spontaneously rather than through conscious effort. And what is intelligence? For human intelligence, unlike the animal intelligence, it's a mental quality that consists of the ability to learn from experience, adapt to situations, and understand and handle abstract concept and use it to one's environment. Okay, these were the definitions of it. And when we talk about emotional intelligence, it's very, very important to know that it's a part of soft skills. Emotional intelligence is an integral part of soft skills that you cannot miss, irrespective of the work that you are, the position that you are, whether you are a researcher, whether you are a student or a teacher or a chartered accountant, a professional or a lawyer or a doctor. It's an important skill that one must earn to be excelling in that profession. In fact, I just wanted to share this initial video just to give a preamble of it so that the rest of the session can be clear with you.
We now have very hard evidence that you have to have soft skills in order to succeed.
Okay, I heard that there is no audio in that. Am I right? There was an audio issue, if I'm not mistaken.
There was audio, no problem.
Okay.
Now audio issue is there. No audio, please. Dr. Binu, no audio. Dr. Binu, we are unable to hear anything.
There's no audio.
Dr. Binu?
Hello, Dr. Binu.
Okay, am I audible to you or is there any issue with the audio? I'm not able to hear you at all.
Dr. Binu, you are audible, but the video was not audible.
I'm not able to hear you. Are you there?
Dr. Binu, you are audible, but the video was not audible.
Are you able to hear me?
Video is not audible.
Video was not audible. Okay.
No. You are audible, but video is not audible.
Okay, let me just share once again.
Okay.
If we can admit those people in the waiting room, it's blocking my. Okay. Are you able to hear me? The audio?
Yes. Now it is audible.
Okay.
We now have very hard evidence that you have to have soft skills in order to succeed. The dimension of success in American life has been the test score, the IQ test score in particular, but also an achievement test score like the SAT. If you get a high SAT, then you get to Harvard. If you get a low SAT, forget it. Should that be the main measure of a person? No. It's important, but there are other skills that are just as important. These are the non-cognitive skills, sometimes called soft skills, that have to do with sociability, the ability to communicate, to get along with others, the ability to have self-control. You've probably heard about the famous test of Walter Mischel, the marshmallow test. He gave these little kids marshmallows and said, here's a marshmallow, you can have it. Now, if you're willing to wait, say 20 minutes, you will get a second marshmallow, but you have to wait to eat the first marshmallow to get the second marshmallow. So some of the kids couldn't wait, they ate the marshmallow, others waited. 20 years later, Michelle follows them up. The ones who waited for the marshmallow, what happened to them? Higher test scores, they graduate high school, they go on to college, they're successful in a number of dimensions. So these traits of self-control, deferred gratification to be the term, those turn out to be predictive. Now we've understood that these soft skills are actually have hard effects, that they're as important, and in some areas more important, for success than just straight IQ. Sounds very touchy-feely, very soft, but it isn't. And that's the part. We have a growing body of evidence that shows that these factors matter, they predict, and the wonderful news is they can be improved. Soft skills are very important because they actually lay the foundations for then later learning.
Okay, so that's what we said about the soft skills. Now, as a definition, what is emotional intelligence? I hope I'm audible to you. If not, see, Ashwini can just send me a message. Am I audible to you?
Yes, you are
Okay,
audible.
good. Okay, so this is the definition of emotional intelligence. So it contains two different aspects. One is intrapersonal intelligence, and the other one is interpersonal intelligence. Now, intrapersonal is identifying our own thoughts and feelings, or otherwise it's known as a self-awareness. And it's also called the self-management part of it. First thing is awareness, which is the core of it, and then followed by self-management. The second aspect of it is the interpersonal intelligence, because when you are aware of yourself, you can understand other people also. It can be individuals or to how to behave in the society. So these are the two elements of interpersonal emotional intelligence, basically interpersonal and intrapersonal intelligence. Now, when you talk about these emotional intelligence, the first thing that we come to know is EQ is more important than IQ for personal satisfaction. You can see that a person can be very high in terms of the intelligence quotient, but if a person is not emotionally able to emotionally stable and able to contain the discrepancies that are happening within the life, it's very difficult, because emotional intelligence is a quality that enables us to confront with patience, insight, and imagination that many problems that we face in our day-to-day life, in our personal relationship as a whole. Because the term emotional intelligence is quite confusing, because you always use the word intelligence to refer to somebody who is smart, efficient, intelligent, and sometimes we say he's dumb, he's stupid. We are all referring to the intelligence quotient and not the emotional quotient. Several studies have shown that 4 in 10 people are not able to work cooperatively with the fellow employees, and this is a part of social skills. They lack the social skills, whereas the 80% of the success in our personal life, whether it is a personal relationship or relationship within the field as such, depends on our understanding ability of the emotions of others. Several research, as I said. So what do we see? The IQ is just the tip of the iceberg, and the majority is unknown, unseen and unhidden to the rest of the people. When you speak about emotional intelligence, we can never ever forget the person who is supposed to be the god of emotional intelligence, perhaps. Okay, the Daniel Coleman and his path-breaking emotional intelligence book, where he speaks about the 4 quadrants of emotional intelligence. The first quadrant, in fact, the first left 2 areas are basically self. The other 2 areas are external areas. So what the first first 1 and 2 columns, the columns one below the other, it speaks about the self-awareness, whereas there is an emotional self-awareness. We must be our own, we must be able to judge and identify what are the emotions that is affecting me. Now, once you identify the emotion, the next aspect is to manage those emotions. It's called self-management. It can be controlling those initiatives, controlling those emotions within. And once you're able to contain within the self-sustenance ability, then it's the other area that is called the social awareness. Empathy, in some of the theory, they call it empathy as a very high social awareness. Empathy is one step closer to the sympathy. It is not just feeling pity, but to feel one's feelings. When you see a poor man sitting on the roadside, it is not just you feel, oh, he's a poor man, or in Arabic we say, oh, miskin. But then it's beyond that. We always feel that we feel oneness about that person. We feel that he's so able to not able to meet his life's demands, and we feel his feelings. That is called empathy. The fourth element, which is on the right corner down below there, it's a relationship management, which says this is where people believe or behave in the society. How they behave in the society is very important thing. Here is where the teamwork and collaboration, how you become an inspirational leader, all these things are the abilities. Let me explain this in detail quickly, and then we'll go on to the discussions of it. Self-awareness. Now, know your emotions, recognize these feelings. And self-awareness also means that you should know your goals. If you do not know where you're going, and any road will take it, its life is limited. So it's very important to know this yourself, have a self assessment of yourself, have an accurate assessment of who you are, what is your strength, what are your abilities. The second one is self-control. You're able to control the emotions of others, able to control the people who are around within us. So all our emotions are able to be controlled, and this is called the self-control. Here it's the picture itself shows it's a look at the self-confidence and reducing the self. The self-control is in action, because here emotion and the intellect are two different elements, but here you're giving the power to the intellect to control your inhibitions or quick actions that is there within. So this is called the self-control. The third element is the empathy part of it, sensing what others feel without their saying. It could be their facial expressions, it could be a body language, the non-verbal tone or the gestures by which, but you're able to assess the person. And to show the empathy, we must first listen to it and then understand and develop the empathetic feeling for the other person. The fourth one is a social skill, which is very important for a professional who is working. We are said to be sophisticated professionals. So it's very important to have the social skills within, and we should be able to trust, recognize others, and to communicate with them effectively. That's a part of it. So any sort of social skill, if you can develop it, there can be a lot of collegiality within, and you don't suspect people unnecessarily. And it's a great skill in solving conflict between people. There are lots of benefits for the employees as well as managers, benefits for these people. The managers, emotional intelligence can ensure stability for the staff, and there is an improved risk management and better organizational. Whereas for the employee, even under pressure, they can be calm and composed through tough situations. So they can become a role model, they can become a situational leader at times. So it's very difficult in relation to ourselves. Emotional intelligence shows up this skepticism around us, the emotions, especially any sort of emotions. It can be love, it can be anxiety, professional ambition, it can be any sort of thing. They know that hatred may sometimes be masked in love, that sometimes anger may be covered in sadness, and that we are all prone to sometimes huge and costly inaccuracies based on our understanding, because we don't really understand what situations are. Some of the characteristics of low EQ person. Look at some of those statements they would make. Okay, if only I had a different job. So they only have regrets, and they look at the glass which is half empty. They don't see the positive side of it. Whereas a positive EQ person, a person with a high EQ, will speak more positively about he knows that there can be failures, there can be success in life. There's a time to love, there's a time to laugh. All the things are a part of it. There's a time to have conflicts within, and there's a time to have something for your own decision making. So this is very important for a high EQ person. Emotions are contagious. There are several examples in our physical session on emotional intelligence. We actually pair two people together, and then we tell one person to be extremely joyful, the other person to be extremely sad. And several of the studies have shown that the sad person has actually reversed or started changing in their emotions with positive emotions, with happiness, not the vice versa. So emotions are contagious, and we know that all these things are very important. Here I would like to show a little bit on the Johari window. I think some of you might have heard. Johari is not a Hindi word, although it sounds like that. Johari is the researcher's name which is combined. Joseph Luft and Harry Ingham. In 1955, they have made this kind of, again, another quadrant, 4 quadrants. The first quadrant, as you can see here, is the open quadrant. Now, this is a public knowledge, the open quadrant that you can see here. Now, this is a well-known thing to others. Everybody knows about your qualifications, about who you are, about your family. These are the things which people would like to see more about yourself. And then everybody knows these things about you. That is open self. The second part is a very dangerous part. This is called the blind spot. Here, this spot is unknown to you, but it is known to others. This self is unknown to yourself, but everybody can see this, but nobody dares to tell you anything about this blind spot because it can sometimes be embarrassing. Perhaps people who can actually speak about your blind spots, people who are really close to you, maybe your family members or your spouses or your best friend can sometimes tell you about this. Okay, people who are very close to you can understand this. You are unknown to it. It can be your weaknesses, it can be your infirmities, anything that others can see but you don't see. It's like driving with a blind spot on your car. Okay, the third element is the hidden element. Now this is called hidden because this is a very private area. The Johari windows, the third window, shows that this is unknown to others and known to your own self. You never want to tell this aspect to anyone else because these are your weaknesses. You never want the society to know about this. Everybody has got an area of hidden self because you don't want the others to see about the infirmities in front of public. So this is the third one. The fourth one is an unconscious or the unknown area where it is unknown to you and it's unknown to others. Sometimes there can be an accidental discovery. Sometimes you find, and occasionally there was a fire in the building and suddenly you became so brave and you helped a couple of people to save people's lives. Now, you never knew that you were so brave enough. So it can be sometimes unconscious self. It is not known to you. Sometimes a situational opportunity can occur to have this come to the fore. Now, these are explained here. I don't need to go further on it. So these are the 4 quadrants. To speak about this, to wrap up this Johari window, it's extremely important to build trust among individuals in the workplace because some people can share very valuable feedback to give you for self-development, especially the blind spot. If you can enlarge the blind spot and develop upon it, it will give a lot of positivity in your life. Let's move on to the leadership area. Okay, as it is shown there, leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. And here I would like to ask you a small puzzle. It's on the train tracks and decision making. Now here, I would read this small situational case study for you. Sometimes some of you might have heard it, but otherwise you can think through this. Okay, this is a decision making case study, which the story is given to give us an insight into decision making. A group of children were playing near 2 railway tracks, one still in use while the other disused. Only one child played on the disused track and the rest on the operational track. The train came and you were just beside the track interchange. And you can pull the lever and you have only one option to change the track or let the train go its own way. You could make this. However, that you would mean that lone child playing by the disused track would be sacrificed if you change the track. Let's take a pause to think what kind of decision we make. So you have got only one choice, just to pull the lever so that the train goes to the disused track where one child plays. On the main track, there are several children playing. Now always reflect on this, can reflect, think, and then you can go ahead. I'll give you half a minute to think about it. What kind of decision will you make? You're on a railway track, beside a railway track. A train is coming. All what you can see is many children are playing on the live track. You have got only one choice to pull the lever so that the train moves to a disused track where only one child plays. I hope you have taken the decision. You have taken something, a mental decision. Now let's see that. Most people might choose to divert the course of the train and sacrifice only one child. Especially, sometimes we are more into numbers. We see by, especially as accountants, I'm not, making a sweeping statement there. Sometimes we go by the numbers, and this is very natural with human beings. Only one child, and here there are many people. To save most of the children at the expense of only one child was a very rational decision we would make morally and emotionally. But have you ever thought that the child choosing to play on the disused track had in fact made the right decision to play at the safe place? Nevertheless, he had to be sacrificed because of his ignorant friends who chose to play where the danger was. Now, this kind of dilemma that happens to us every day in our office community, in the politics, especially in democratic society, the minority is often sacrificed for the interest of the majority, no matter how foolish or ignorant the majority are and how farsighted and knowledgeable the minority are. As you can well imagine, the child who chose not to play with the rest of the operational track was sidelined here. And in this case, he was sacrificed and no one would shed a tear for him. To make a proper decision is not to try to change the course of the train, because the kids playing on the operational track would have known very well that the track was still in use, and they would have run away if they heard the sirens. So this happens in our real day-to-day life also. If the train was diverted, the lone child would definitely be killed, because he would never think, or she would never think, that the train would come on this track. Moreover, the track was not in use probably because it was not in safe. Yeah, those are from India know that especially the rail track, when they are not used, the disused track means it might have a crack, it is not serviced. So if the train was diverted to the track, we could put the lives of all the passengers on board at stake sometimes. And you attempt to save a few kids by sacrificing one child, you might end up sacrificing hundreds of people to save these few kids. We are all aware of the decisions that we make, but we may not realize sometimes that hasty decisions may not always the right one. Remember that what is right isn't always popular, and what's popular isn't always right. Okay, so here I have a question for you. All right, so this is again, I hope you have a notepad with you. This is for your notepad session. You have a piece of paper, that's enough. Notepad and a piece of paper. Can somebody respond to me? Can somebody respond to me? If they have a notepad, you can unmute yourself and say. You have a notepad with you? I have just 4 questions to ask you. Right?
Yes, I think you can go ahead.
Okay, so if you have a notepad, preferably a blank notepad, a white notepad, you can look at this, you can draw this diagram over there. One big square with the white square divided into 4 small squares, and inside the square A, B, and C, you have 3 small squares. Now I'll be asking you some questions based on these 4 squares. Okay, I guess all of you are there. I don't mind you unmute because I want to hear some human voice always. Yeah, I hope you are there. You're there with you have drawn the big square, the white big square, and divided into 4 pieces, and inside the 3 squares, small 3 square. And you can darken the middle 3 squares, the gray squares in the middle. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so here we go to the first question. Divide the white area in square A into 2 equal pieces. Remember, you're only talking about the white area, only this part, into 2 equal pieces. I hope you have done it. Am I right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes, it's easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is there anybody got a different answer? I don't think so. Okay, thank you. Now let's go to the second question. Divide the white area in square B into 3 equal pieces. 3
Yes.
equal pieces.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Was it difficult? I don't think so. Okay, so it's not difficult at all. Very good. I know that all, financial controllers and regulators and auditors, you have great mental acumen to go fast and take quick decisions. Okay, good to see that. Now, you know that these two have you have taken quickly. Now let's go to the third question. Divide the white area in square C into 4 equal pieces. Into 4 equal pieces. It can be any shape, by the way. It should be exactly the same. It should be with engineering precision, not just a shape, but it should be exactly 4 pieces. If you stack one over the other, it should be exactly the same. Anybody? Okay. Anybody?
Draw one diagonal line and like what we made A.
Diagonal line, but will it be the 4 equal pieces? Only the white
Diagonal
area.
line and one diagonal and one joining the corner of like what we did in A.
What we did in A.
Correct. Yeah.
But will it be the equal size? Thank you, Mr. Deepak ji. Will it be the same?
I think yes.
You're confident? Do you think if you stack one piece over the other, will it be exactly the same?
Yeah, it will be like
Shape is okay, but it should be with the precision, especially with the area should be the same, just like the other two we did. Okay, let me go to the answer. Okay, see whether anybody has. If anybody has done like this, I'll give them a chocolate when we meet.
No.
Wow.
No.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tassi. Yeah, I don't think anybody has there. I can give them a chocolate once we meet after quarantine and after lockdown. Okay. So here we go to the last question. Okay, let's the last question, the final. Be ready. Divide the white area in square D into 7 equal pieces. It's not 8, it's 7 equal pieces. Okay, 7 equal pieces. Anybody? Can somebody give me a shout? They got it?
Yeah, got it.
Oh, got it. Okay. Good to know that. Who is it?
Neeraj.
Neeraj sir. Okay, because there are 60 participants. I heard only one Mr. Neeraj answering. So, any ideas actually?
7 straight lines.
Absolutely right. Okay. Now, I don't know if others got it. The world record is 7 seconds to solve this puzzle. Here is the answer.
Yes.
Have you got this?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been parallel lines. I mean,
it can be vertical, horizontal or vertical.
Vertical.
Yeah, vertical. But many time I found that in many of the sessions, in the real sessions, I found that people hesitate. I'm pretty sure that in this session also, we would have hesitated before answering D. And for what's the simple reason? Can somebody respond? What's the reason?
Because the previous one was a difficult one.
Yes, Ashwini, yes. The third was a difficult one. Exactly that is. And it wasn't tough at all. Thank you for that answer. So it was just because our mind was conditioned to seek a complex solution in this case. Because these are some of those takeaways from this particular quiz. Most of the times our mind gets conditioned so much by the circumstance and we cannot see the obvious. When we go to a specialist doctor with a headache, the diagnosis starts from migraine and upwards because your aunt had a migraine, somebody had a brain tumor. So, it affects us. We assume that things are so complicated and we are getting entrapped into that. And we carry on with the same syndrome to our relationships in our personal life and in our office. Remember, first seek for a simple solution. Okay, and then you go for a difficult one. So what is the takeaway from this? Irrespective of whatever the previous experience was, and it's good to have an experience, but do not always apply the previous experience to a new situation. That's very, very simple. Now, I have this group session, group 1 and group 2. Now, since it's an online session, since it's a virtual session, I may choose, you can choose whichever you want. You can choose group 1 or group 2. I'll give you 1 minute time to think about. You can jot down your answers and read it to me within the session. If you're choosing group 1, the best boss, okay, why did you enjoy working with him or her? What was his or her impact on your attitude, behavior, results? If you're choosing group 2, the worst boss, I don't know if people had the experience. Why did you dislike working for him or her? What was his or her impact on your attitude, behavior, results? Okay, can you take a minute? I'll give you just to jot down and tell me. I'm just waiting for a few more, another 30 seconds. Someone can answer? Group 1, anybody? Group 1, why did you enjoy working with him or her? The best boss?
Yeah, doctor, I had a boss.
Yeah, you don't have to give the names or name, but why? Yeah, okay.
No, I just had, my first boss was one who showed me, he guided my path rather than laid on the path.
Oh, guided your path and laid on the path. Okay, great.
Like, thank you.
Thank you, Suman sir. Anybody else want to share? Or nobody had best boss? I don't believe that.
I had one boss.
Yes.
I had one boss where when we had to go for a meeting.
Yeah.
So we all one guy is a chartered accountant, one guy is IIT, and this one. So
Yeah.
when we entered in the meeting, he just told us, "Just now I finished with one donkey. The other 4 donkeys have come." So that really hurt us. So this is one of the worst boss I've seen.
Oh, you're talking about group number 2, worst boss. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing it, Mr. Rajesh. Yeah. Okay.
Hi.
Yes, Mr.
Hi,
Radha.
this is this is Radhakrishnan. I had a good boss. He's very transparent, and his views doesn't have any hidden agenda, and he gave me empowerment that I had the self-esteem, or what you can call. You don't feel bad, or you always showing the right path. Even if I make a mistake, he doesn't pinpoint. Maybe he is always supportive of what I do.
You've used some of those qualitative terms like transparent, okay, and somebody who doesn't take credit for himself or herself. He is sharing the things with the other people. Yeah, so that's one thing that go. So why did we have this? Now it's a kind of introspection. What do we expect from our bosses? Now your bosses, most of your bosses, if people are working under you, if I ask your subordinates, where will they categorize you? Group 1 or group 2? So that's a personal question, but then think about it. Now, I'm sure you all want to be categorized in group 1 as an individual who has a rounded personality. It is most of the things you're positive, you're supportive, you're empathetic. Those things which are this part, what it is. So how can we make a difference in the workplace? There is no place which is not having any problems as such. Every place has its own problems, but if you can be a part of the solution instead of a problem, even when you go to your boss, don't just present the problems alone. Go with some suggestions, go with the options that will be better appreciated by the boss, because every emotion that we have is translated to our thoughts, and those thoughts will lead to your behavior, and the behavior will lead to the performance and the outcomes of it. So the first thing is to control our emotions about it, because it will definitely influence our performance and it will have repercussions of the rest of your life. Okay, these are some Einstein's quotes which I found. The value of achievement lies in achieving a person who never made a mistake, never tried anything new. So these are some of the things. Now, I wanted you to see this video. Hopefully the audio will work as well. I'll pause it after half a minute so that you're sure the audio works.
Yeah, David, come on in.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
How's the family?
They're doing well. I heard there's a promotion coming up next quarter. I'd love to throw my name in the hat.
Yeah, you know what? I've been looking at the numbers, and yours don't seem to be quite up to what we need.
With all due respect, sir, I've been here 5 years, and I've worked 60, 70 hours a week. I show up earlier than anyone here. I'm the hardest worker you have.
This is not a question of work ethic, David. I love working with you. You bring a great energy and work ethic, but sometimes it just comes down to cold, hard facts. And we need numbers.
Well, I don't understand. What are you saying?
We have to let you go.
I don't understand.
The truth is, you're just not the right fit.
Okay. Thanks for your opportunity. Hey!
David, how's it going?
Hey, it's good to see you.
Great to see you. So what are you up to?
I've actually, since I saw you, I started my own company. I'm doing what I love every day. It's going really well.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Thanks. You know, actually, I need to thank you, because you said what I did before wasn't the right fit, and you were right. So thank you.
That's great to hear. I've always liked you. Really great to see you.
Thanks. Hey, let's grab a drink sometime.
I love that, yeah.
Let's do it.
Great.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
We should actually be extremely grateful that some things don't work out the way we once wanted them to. When we get rejected or we fail or things don't go our way, we feel we're further away from our goal. But sometimes it's in those moments that we have the greatest opportunity to reflect, refuel, and refocus. It's in those moments that feel like the death of our dreams that our truest potential is actually taking birth. If a door doesn't open, it's not your door. Often we're trying to climb ladders that are not ours to climb. Is your dream really your dream? Are you chasing what you truly want? I remember one of my mentors telling me that in our pain, we find our greatest power. Success is not built on success. It's built on failure. It's built on frustration. It's built on fears that you have to overcome. Sometimes it takes a good fall to really know where you stand. Every time we think we're being rejected from something good, remember, we're just being redirected to something better. Thank you for watching this 4-part series. If you missed an episode, go back and watch episodes 1, 2, and 3 to see the complete picture.
Okay, I think some of you know this. Some of you know this person. I'm sure Jay Shetty. If not, you can have lots of videos on there, lots of motivational videos on it. Now here I want you to focus on David, what David's focus was. When he was rejected, when he lost a job, he used his emotional intelligence. He's not frustrated because especially when he realized that now he's crushed by that failure over there in that office, he realized that that's not exactly where he should be. So he tried something differently and found some success in his life. That's what it speaks about it. Now, let me go back to once again, the emotions. Have you heard about the 3 primary colors? What are those 3 primary colors? Any idea?
Red, blue, green?
Yes, red.
Not green. Yellow,
Not
yellow.
green. Okay. I never knew about it, maybe until I was 35. Maybe, my child came and asked me, I learned my primary colors, and I was wondering. And yes, I think it was here, Ashwini's, right, who said, which are the primary colors? It's RYB, red, yellow, blue. So all the colors are a combinations of these things. Now, if you search it, just like the primary colors, we all have primary emotions also. Can you name which are the 4 basic emotions? Come on, you can talk.
Happiness.
Happiness, yes, Mr. Jerry. Happiness.
Sadness.
Mr. Sumant, sadness, okay.
Excitement.
Yeah, Mr. Jerry, excitement. Yeah, okay. Excitement is for basic fundamentals. Excitement could be, happiness.
Maybe anger.
Yes, definitely anger. Okay.
Fear. Fear.
Yes. Okay. So these are the 4 basic emotions. If you have heard, I'm sure we all have it. The madness, mad, sad, glad, and scared. That's what I call it. Mad is anger, sadness, glad, happiness, scared. There are other emotions. If you read in some of the books, they say about, anxiety is there. Sometimes, disgusting could be, but there are basic 4 emotions. Now, how to control these emotions? What are those emotions? Now, these are the 4 basic emotions, and there are 3 secrets to managing your 4 basic emotions, which I'm going to share with you right now. Now, before I share what are the secrets, let's go to menti.com, on your mobile phone. What is the most challenging? What is most challenging for you? Is it controlling my anger, to be assertive, negative thoughts, accepting? Go to www.menti.com. Okay, menti.com, and let me share that menti.com. Okay, here we go on menti.com. The code is 562494 on menti.com. Oh, one person has entered. It's 100. There are 4 options. I'm sorry?
Code? What is the code?
It's written on the top, 562494. 562494. You can see the live recording also here. 6 people have so far entered. What is the most challenging for you? Negative thoughts, controlling my anger, to be assertive, accepting failure. Okay, so far we have got 23 people who have responded to it, and you can see the pie chart, the segments keep changing based on your responses. Okay, so 28, let's stop over there. So 28 people have responded to it, and you can see that 29 people, you can see that the majority said, the 40% is saying that to be assertive, that's the largest segment here in this. What's most challenging for you? The second one is negative thoughts and controlling my anger. Perhaps I would have chosen sometimes, to be assertive once again. Controlling my anger, I thought many would choose that. It seems you are all very calm and composed when it comes to situations of emotional distress. You control your anger quite well, I believe, because towards the end of the session now, I'm giving you a self-assessment questionnaire for you to take away. Ashwini will share that with you. I will share it with her. It's a PDF document where you can just answer it by yourself. There are a few questions, battery of questions, where you see which part of an emotional intelligence which is stronger for you and which are the areas that you can improve upon it. Anyway, so 36 people have responded. Thank you so much for your response. So the most important thing is to be assertive. That's what we find here. Okay, let's go back to this. What we say, what were the 4 basic emotions, you remember?
Mad, sad,
yes,
glad, and scared.
Yes, mad, sad, glad, and the last one?
Scared.
The last one? Scared. So these are the 4 basic emotions. So let's see these 4 basic emotions and 3 secrets to control it. Secret number 1, know what triggers our emotions. If it is anger, what exactly specifically triggers? For example, if some students come to come late for the class or a meeting, I may not like it. That's a trigger for me. It's like pushing a button on me. So that is what something which triggers. Know exactly what kind of an action, what actually triggers our emotions, because emotions will actually lead to your thoughts. So the first thing is to know exactly what triggers our actions. The second one is how do the feelings manifest in you. What are those feelings? Recognize your feelings. It can be a physical symptom. When this happens, what happens to me? What comes to me? What happens to my physique, by my mind? Am I talking differently? Is my body language different? Am I being negative in it? The second one is to control these things. The third one is how do you manage your emotions? There are lots of people. There's a self-care. We always have different techniques of dealing with it. Check whether these techniques are actually the right ones or not, because towards the end of the session, I'll give you 10 takeaways of how to control the emotional intelligence. Now, see, in the light of these areas, you can reflect on those 10 areas and see how we can improve on this. Active skill is an essential skill for all the managers. Okay, it's a very, very extremely important skill is listening. Good managers listen, observe 80%. They may speak 20% or much less than that. First of all, observe carefully. There can be some kind of hidden situations. The non-verbal, the signs and cues are there when somebody speaks to you. Evaluate the message correctly on the basis of verbal as well as non-verbal. Allow silence. Don't interrupt the person when they talk to you. Ask probing questions of concern. Oh, is it? Oh, how? What happened? These are the questions. Acknowledge and respond using paraphrasing, perception checking, and summarizing. So you mean your car was hit by another car? So checking, concept checking questions. That's an active listening thing. Now, when you said about active listening thing, remember when you give a feedback, there can be positive or negative feedback. Both are important as a manager. If it is a feedback which is positive, praise immediately. Someone gets a certificate, someone wins something, the response should be, the positive response should be immediate. They have done a good job. Be specific what you appreciate and how it helps. Let them hear exactly what are you talking about. The specific addressing of that issue should be very important to you. Tell how you feel about this. Tell what was your feeling when you heard about this. Encourage to repeat in future also, because it's a positive thing. This would motivate and encourage, because that's one of those major roles of a manager, is to motivate, encourage, keep them positive. Now, there are situations where you have to give negative feedback also, but be very clear. When you give negative feedback, reprimand immediately, one-to-one. Never talk to a person's weaknesses or situations of failure in front of others. You have to very personally talk to them, and it need not be in your office. You can come out of your office desk, because office desk creates, in body language they call it as, it creates the official dumb, when you sit across the desk. Come out of the desk, talk to him. And when you, it should be a, I'm sorry, there is a spelling mistake over there, reprimand. Okay, correct. That's right. So when you talk to the person, come out of the table and speak to them on a personal one-to-one experience and sharing of the experience, and be very specific. Just like you said about the positives, be specific to what kind of weaknesses you're talking about. Speak only the behavior and not the person. That's very, very important, whether it is your colleague, your co-worker, your subordinate, or even to your children. Tell about the negative behavior, the act upon which is a concern, and not the person. Don't abuse the person completely. You tell this particular behavior was a concern to you. Describe how you feel that this happened, and give some silence for the other person to speak about it. Reaffirm that you will think well of them and not of the behavior in that situation. You know that you have been doing all these things, but this particular issue, it's some of the areas that you need to improve. Be very specific to the, so it's very important as a manager to give both positive and feedback. Positives can be in front of others because they would like to hear that. Adulation is very, very important. Whereas negatives can be very personal because you want them to improve. Because if you tell others, or if you name and shame them in front of others, they won't improve. Okay, they will be more resisting to that particular situation. That's what most often happens. Okay, giving constructive feedback. Now we are going to have a small activity also soon after this. When you give constructive feedback, start with when you do that, when you describe the behavior without judgment. When you do this, I feel it, and because so use this words because it's very important to express your words, the feelings, and starting with when you. Okay, pause for the discussion. I would like, because what do you think about it? Ask the person to respond to this. What do you think about it? Okay, so giving constructive feedback. When you're late for team meetings, I get angry. And because I think it was a waste of time and pause for discussion, I would like you to consider, because that way we can be more productive at that time. So what do you think? So words are very important. How constructive you give the feedback is very important for the person's change. Because in a face-to-face situation, verbal and non-verbal communication, you know that body language is much louder than words. You know how much is the body language when compared to words in a face-to-face situation in by percentage? How much is it? Any idea?
Around 80%.
Yes, much above that. Yes, thank you for that. At least 80%. 93% of our face-to-face communication is conveyed non-verbally. And these are the segments. 55% is body language. Vocal is 38%. Only 7% is words by itself. So you can imagine the, a lion's share of our communication is conveyed by other means other than words. If I'm saying to you, oh, I'm sorry. Now, does it sound sorry to you? Certainly not. Because here I'm more arrogant to you. I'm actually creating, it's like abusing you by saying sorry. It's like an insult over injury. So in a face-to-face situation, 93%. Now, what about the telephonic situations? What about on the phone where you can't see the person, especially when nowadays, because of this online issues, on the phone, you're communicating with somebody. You know how much is a percentage? Here is again just for the knowledge part of it. On a telephonic communication, 18% is content and 82% is by voice and tone that's conveyed. That's what it says, verbal and non-verbal. Now let's talk about the tiny frogs. I think some of you might have heard about the story of tiny frogs. This tiny frogs, the story, there was once a bunch of tiny frogs who arranged a running competition. So the goal was to reach the top of a very high signal tower. And you can imagine tiny frogs, the big crowd had gathered to cheer them. The race began, and honestly, no one in the crowd really believed that the frogs can actually reach the top of the tower. You heard statements such as, it's way too difficult, they will never make it to the top. Or you heard, not a chance that they will succeed, the tower is too high. And the tiny frogs began collapsing one by one, except for those who were in a fresh tempo were climbing higher and higher. The crowd yelled, and then they said, it's so difficult, no one will make it. And more tiny frog got tired and take it. But one continued to go higher and higher. This one wouldn't give up. And at the end, everyone else had given up climbing the tower, except for this little ones. And everybody wanted to know how this frog managed to do that. And the contestant asked, how did you succeed? How did you get that energy to reach the top? And it seems the winner was deaf. So this speaks about that never listen to people's tendencies to be negative and pessimistic, because they take out the most wonderful dreams and wishes away from you, the ones that you have in heart. Always think about the power which words have. Therefore, be positive, and above all, be deaf when people tell you that you cannot fulfill your dreams. Okay, always tell, I can do this. That's what is important. Now, there's a puzzle for you. All right. Can you solve this puzzle? I'll give you 2 minutes time. Okay. Your notepad, observe the visuals very carefully. It's a visual puzzle, so observation is very important. You can use your glasses or lens if you want, but I'm waiting for the answer within 2 minutes. I'm sure somebody will it very fast.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. All right. Let's, who was it?
Neeraj, 9.
Mr. Neeraj, what is it? 9?
9.
I'm afraid Ivek, quick.
11.
No, I'm not afraid that's not the correct answer.
35.
Excellent
30.
attempt, but not the correct answer.
39. 39.
13.
Oh, this is
26.
Oh,
Maybe-
51.
165.
35.
165.
It's not
Multiplied
36.
by
It's not
beta.
165.
26.
38.
It's not
38.
26. It's not 28.
24.
Not 24. Thank you. You have to observe the last line very carefully. I hope it's visible to you, although it's online.
50.
I'm sorry, Mr. Sri, it's not 50. Yes, Mr. Badri.
165.
Oh, that's too way
Is
high.
it 38? 38?
Who is that? Who is
Neeraj.
it? 30?
There is a multiplication.
Yeah, there is Mr.
165.
Neeraj. Let's give a round of applause to Neeraj. He got the right answer.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Neeraj, 38 is the right answer. Because if you observe the last line, Neeraj, can you just share how you got your last answer?
Yeah, it's hexagonal and pentagon. So 11.
Yeah. Okay.
Times 3 bananas, 33. Then 3 and 2.
Okay, and 3 bananas and 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah.
Well done. Okay, that was,
Formula rule has to be applied for the multiplication.
Yeah.
Correct. First you multiply, yeah.
First multiply,
Yeah,
yes.
first you multiply.
Yeah, first multiply. Yeah, that's a well done, Mr. Neeraj. Okay, you deserve a loud round of applause.
Round of
I
applause.
think you're
Thank
the,
you so much.
has anybody else got it? I'm a bit curious. Okay, and nobody else. Thank you so much. So these are all some brain teasers. Sometimes you need this kind of to activate this. So CAs and EIs. Okay, it's a rare combination that have the August gathering of CAs here. There's a common perception that money and emotions don't match. Many people believe that they don't match with each other, emotions and money. Whereas studies have shown that financial decisions are greatly. Okay, can you please mute if you? Okay, thank you. Financial decisions are greatly influenced by emotions, and many studies have proven that there are 5 ways of emotional dealing when you hold a $1,000. A study said one thing is the self-worth. By holding the cash, you feel the real worth of it. You touch and feel the worth of the money. The second emotional feeling is love. When you say that you're buying something for your child, maybe your child is studying abroad, you're saying, I will buy this ticket for you with this. So that's the way you spend another. That's a love that is shown there. The third one is by security. If you deposited money in stock market, maybe stock market, it's a wrong time to deposit in stock market, but in deposited some money in the bank, that's a security element of it. The power is when you offer your child and saying that if you get all A's, this is for you. So that's a power that you show. The fifth one is attractiveness. You spend on yourself. You go to a spa, you go to a restaurant, you have a, whenever possible, after the lockdown, go to a restaurant or a hotel, spend some time. That's on you, or buy some clothing. Attractiveness. So these are the 5 emotional dealing when you hold it. So money and emotions have a very strong connection, and this is being explained very well. So personal demons around money, from our own experience in the past, things that happened to us that have caused us to do things differently than other people do, just because our way or level of thinking and experiences that have happened to take place. The 3 things to consider when dealing with money. Number 1, never worry about money alone. You need not be a consultant, but you need to share with somebody when you have dealing with money. That is what one of the famous tips from Hallowell in his research, the 3 main findings. Number 2, get the facts about money that is concerning to you, exact fact. How much money is left, or how much money is to be given, how much is to be coming back. Third one, have a clear plan. Now, to explain this, okay, there is a further reading, Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. I'll just show you one of those videos here. He is a Nobel laureate in economics who speaks about why we make bad decisions about money and what can we do about it. A quick video of 3 minutes and you will get something out of it.
people are not fully rational, and they make many choices that, if they reflected upon them, they would do differently. There's no question about that. And we have a fair understanding, actually, of what is happening. At least at the individual level, my sense is that we have explored a lot of what is happening. I wouldn't say there's going to be no further progress, but we've explored a lot. The major tendencies, well, the major tendencies to people tend to frame things very narrowly. They take a narrow view of decision makings. They look at the problem at hand and they deal with it as if it were the only problem. Very frequently, it's a better idea to look at problems as they will recur throughout your life, and then you look at the policy that you ought to adopt for a class of problems. Difficult to do would be a better thing. People frame things narrowly in the sense, for example, that they will save and borrow at the same time instead of somehow treating their whole portfolio of assets as one thing. If people were able to take a broader view, they would in general make better decisions. So that is certainly one of the weaknesses of human decision making. We call it narrow framing. Mental accounting, is a big deal. This is the way that we live. So we keep our money in different mental accounts for which we have different rules. So people will of course, they spend their spending money. But then there is a hierarchy of the accounts that they will touch. They will spend money that they've stored for vacation quite often before they will spend whatever they're thinking of as savings for their children's education. So those are mental accounts for which people have different rules. More foolishly, this is pretty sensible because mental accounting is a tool of self-control. But more foolishly, investors tend to view each stock that they buy as a mental account, and they want to sell it when it is a winner. And so they tend to sell their winners and to hang on to their losers in their portfolio. And that turns out to make them substantially poorer than if they had done things differently. You need to be numerate for certain kinds of decisions. So numerate people have a significant advantage over those who are not. Understanding compound interest makes a huge difference whether you're a credit card borrower or somebody who's saving. People have a very hazy idea of compound interest, and it's very detrimental. So I would say that, first of all, you need to be numerate, but many people are. Then you need to frame things broadly. I mean, it frequently goes with numeracy, but it's not quite the same thing. And then, by taking the broad view, it is very important not to have overly strong emotional reactions to events. And what I mean by that is that most of us tend to respond to gains and to losses, to changes that happen in our life. Actually, you're better off if you frame things broadly and you think of you win a few, you lose a few, and you have very limited emotional response to small gains and to small losses. That tends to induce better decision making.
Okay, so that speaks about the decision making, especially with money, because some of these things were important to you. Now, with that decision making, let's come to another point of situational leadership. I think in this group, is there anybody who doesn't know about the story of turtle and rabbit? I don't think anybody, right? Nobody's. Okay, everybody knows the story of turtle and rabbit, which we studied in schools and perhaps in kindergarten. Now, you know that there are management stories out of it. Okay, I'll just quickly show this management story because it is something to tell about you as a leader or you as a team player here.
Once upon a time, a turtle and a rabbit had an argument about who was faster. They decided to settle the argument with a race. The turtle and the rabbit both agreed on a route and started off the race. The rabbit shot ahead and ran briskly for some time. Then, seeing he was far ahead of the turtle, He thought he'd sit under a tree for some time and relax before continuing the race. He sat under the tree and soon fell asleep. The turtle, plodding on, overtook him and soon finished the race. Emerging as the undisputed champ, the rabbit woke up and realized that he'd lost the race. The moral of the story is that slow and steady wins the race. This is the version of the story that we've all grown up with. But our version of the story continues. The rabbit was disappointed at losing the race, and he did some thinking. He realized that he'd lost the race only because he had been overconfident, careless, and lax. If he had not taken things for granted, there's no way the turtle could have beaten him. So, he challenged the turtle to another race. The turtle agreed. This time, the rabbit went all out and ran without stopping from start to finish. He won by several miles. The moral of the story? Fast and consistent will always beat the slow and steady. It's good to be slow and steady, but it's better to be fast and reliable. But the story doesn't end here. The turtle did some thinking this time and realized that there's no way he can beat the rabbit in a race the way it was currently formatted. He thought for a while and then challenged the rabbit to another race, but on a slightly different route. The rabbit agreed. The turtle and rabbit started off. In keeping with his self-made commitment to be consistently fast, the rabbit took off and ran at top speed until he came to a broad river. The finishing line was a couple of kilometers on the other side of the river. The rabbit sat there, wondering what to do. In the meantime, the turtle trundled along, got into the river, swam to the opposite bank, continued walking, and finished the race. The moral of the story? First, identify your core competency, and then change the playing field to suit your core competency. The story still hasn't ended. The turtle and rabbit by this time had become pretty good friends, and they did some thinking together. Both realized that the last race could have been run much better. So, the turtle and rabbit decided to do the last race again, but to run as a team this time. They started off, and this time the rabbit carried the turtle till the riverbank. There, the turtle took over and swam across with the rabbit on his back. On the opposite bank, the rabbit again carried the turtle, and they reached the finishing line together. Both the turtle and rabbit felt a greater sense of satisfaction than they'd felt earlier. The moral of the story? It's good to be individually brilliant and to have strong core competencies. But unless you're able to work in a team and harness each other's core competencies, you'll always perform below par, because there will always be situations at which you'll do poorly and someone else does well. Teamwork is mainly about situational leadership, letting the person with the relevant core competency for a situation take leadership. And that is the end of the story.
Okay, so you've heard the story of the rabbit and the turtle, and this, unlike the story that we all learned in the school, there is a management perspective to it, and each time the story gives a different lesson or a moral. The first one was slow and steady. The second one is, any idea? Fast and consistent will always be the, consistent. The third is an important. The third and the fourth are new dimensions. What is the third one?
Always know your core competency.
Core competence. You know, if you're good in something, now find situations just like the turtle has made the path or the route that is different through the river. Make sure that you get chances where your core competence gets an opportunity. It's not a sabotage, whatever you're doing at work, but make sure that you can perform well. So whenever there's such a situation, you should pitch in there and then help the teams accordingly. The fourth one was about situational leadership. That's the end of the story. It's about teamwork. It's not just one person who is and all round, and he's a star in the office. We need team, and many of those international firms nowadays recruit people with team working abilities. That's one of the soft skills that they prefer to have. That's one thing. Now we'll talk about the stress. Okay, this is and I don't need to tell you, the picture shows with the stress at home, stress in the office. We have all had a taste of this situation here. There's a normal reaction to stress. One is fight, the other one is flight, and a third one could be freezing. You don't know what to do. It's an immobilization situation where you have no idea how to react to the situation. There's a high emotion, okay, either fight, flight, or freeze. There are lots of symptoms of stress. I don't need to tell you. Okay, I'll just sleeping difficulties. Some people eat well, some people overeat, some people don't eat. They will lose their appetite. Increased anger, sleeping difficulties, high BP, headache. So these are some of the things which will lead to stress because of stress. Depression, overeating. Now, not all stress is bad actually. There are also positive stress and negative stress. Okay, I don't need to tell about the causes of stress, which you know that. Now, let's talk about the positive stress about it. Look at the positive stress is called eustress. And it actually is beneficial for our performance. We need some kind of stress to be able to work in a challenging environment. Otherwise, it leads to, if there is no stress at work, it is very boring. It leads to boredom, ennui, etc. There's nothing to look forward to. So it enhances, the eustress is a mental and physical enhancement situation. And there is a lot of challenge within this, which you enjoy doing that. On the bottom part is the distress, which is the negative stress, which is bad, which can lead to physical and mental situations, depressions, and chronic. This is short period. So imagine you're giving a presentation, you're giving a talk, you're in the Toastmasters, you have something to give. Now that pressure will give you a sort of enthusiasm to work on it. That's a positive stress. Whereas unnecessary stress is people add to it, which is called the distress. So not all stress is bad. Now, it all depends on the person's individual stress profile. Some people, it's like an inverted U or a bell curve here, as you can see here. Some people have a small stress pattern. For a little stress, they get worked out and then it ends there soon. Whereas some other people, when some people are breaking down, other people are still going, on a higher side. And that is an individual stress profile of individuals. If you look at Dr. Pete Nixon, he speaks about the human function curve, where he speaks about performance as there should be a healthy tension that everybody, and there's an intended performance on, you can see towards the side. But in some situations, this performance may not happen because it can lead to exhaustion, because you'll get burned out if it is too much of fatigue and things like that. So there should be a stress, that's what is said. Managing stress depends on the physical activities. There should be relaxation techniques. Talk to some people, write it down. I'll speak about this tips also, writing it down tips. Because as Winston Churchill said, you will never reach your destination if you stop and throw stones at every dog that barks. You don't need to react to every situation. You don't need to be reacting, or your reaction can be more positive. Quiz for you. In 5 seconds, tell me how many holes does this t-shirt have? Quickly. People can use their unmute button. How many holes does this t-shirt have?
6.
Somebody said 6, Mr. Ajay. And somebody, I heard another answer also.
8.
6.
6. Who said 8?
I said 8, Sumant.
Mr. Sumant. Okay. I think we had to give a round of applause to Sumant. Okay, Sumant, you're right. Well done. I can't hear the claps. I hope there are 60 people here. Okay, Sumant, you're right. Okay, there are 8 holes here. Ready for another quiz?
Yes.
Are you ready? Okay, next quiz, you have to give me the answer again within 5 seconds. Here we go.
2 spots.
Okay, who was it?
Sumant.
Oh, Sumant, yeah, really, spot on. Okay, so you can say that it's not with the numbers. I know that most of you are in the in the field of accounting. So you go with the numbers. There's no mistake in the numbers, but the spot, the word is repeated twice. So, okay. So next one, which line is longer?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Tassi, that was A. I think many people are
Brilliant
hesitating.
answer.
Brilliant answer. But people hesitated, you know what? Just like the 4 squares, they thought, oh, the next one is more difficult. It was an obvious question. Okay, it was an obvious question. So it just wants to keep, I just want to have some brain teasers like that. Okay, we have been talking about reacting, and you heard about Stephen Covey, right?
No.
Stephen Covey. I'm sure you heard about the 7 habits of highly effective people. Okay, he's the author. He's not alive. He died in 2011, I believe, 2011-12. But he has written, brilliant books of Stephen Covey's 7 habits of highly effective people. And there was an addition. There was called an 8th habit, written as a separate book. So towards the end of the session, I'll give a list of books also to, in relation to emotional intelligence. Stephen Covey has written about the 90-10 principle. That's very useful to read this very quickly. I'll go through that. Stephen Covey. You're having a breakfast with your family and your daughter knocks over a cup of coffee onto your business shirt. You have no control over what has just happened. What happens next will be determined how you react. So what happens? You curse the child, you scold the daughter, she breaks down. After scolding her, you turn up to your wife, you criticize her for placing the cup too close to the edge of the table. A short verbal battle follows. You storm upstairs and change your shirt. Back downstairs, you find your daughter has been busy crying to finish the breakfast, and she lost her school bus. Now, it's your responsibility. Your spouse is leaving for work, so you rush to the car and drive your daughter to school. Because you're late, you drive at 100 miles per hour in a 70-mile speed limit zone, and then after 15-minute delay and throwing $20 fine, traffic fine, you arrive at school. Your daughter runs into the building without saying goodbye. After arriving at the office 20 minutes late, you realize you forgot your briefcase. Your day has started terrible. As it continues, it seems to get worse and worse. You look forward to coming home, and when you reach home, you find a small wedge in your relationship between you and your wife and your daughter. What's the reason? Because of how you reacted in the morning. So why did you have a bad day? Did the coffee cause it? Did your daughter cause it? Did the policeman cause it? Did you cause it? Yes.
I guess that you caused it.
Yeah. The answer is D. Okay.
D.
You caused it. Okay. So we had no control over what happened with the coffee. The way in which we reacted in 5 seconds is what caused your bad day. And here is what you could have and should have happened in the situation. The coffee splashes on you. Your daughter is about to cry. You gently say, it's okay. You just need to be more careful next time. You grab a towel, you go upstairs, change your shirt, and she turns and waves the child getting onto the bus, and you arrive 5 minutes early to a cheerfully greeting staff. So you notice a difference here. So the 90-10 principle, the wrap-up by Stephen Covey, is 2 different scenarios, both started the same, but both ended differently. The reason is how we react to the situation. We have no control over the 10% of things that happen in our life. Somebody will cut across, somebody will be rude to you in the office, somebody will play tricks at you. Okay, on the drive, somebody cuts into your lane. You have no control over what happens, the 10% of things that happen in our life. The other 90% is determined by how we react to things. And this is why it's important to have a good attitude at work. Attitude is a key to success. And this is shown by one of those great leaders from the Global School, Bengaluru. I think
there are 3 things in life that makes the person successful. One is the knowledge the person has, the skills he develops, and the attitude he has. It can be demonstrated by a very simple experiment of balancing the 2 heavy stainless steel forks on the edge of the glass. One fork represents the knowledge the person has. The other represents the skill a person needs to possess. And then knowledge and skills are individual to the person. They live with him and die with him. cannot be passed on. But they can be connected to the society or the organization through another agency called as the toothpick. If you can see, the forks are hanging free on the edge of the glass with a toothpick. If you see 3/4 of the toothpick is outside the glass, a small portion is inside the glass. Now what should happen if I burn the toothpick from inside? Watch carefully. I start burning this toothpick. What normally people expect is, as the toothpick burns, the wood burns and the whole fork should fall down. It would not happen. I can take another matchstick. I'll try to burn it. The inside of the toothpick. Not two. Even if you take 20 matchsticks, it will not burn beyond that. If you observe carefully, the toothpick is balancing on the edge of the glass, which is not even 1 millimeter thick. Two heavy forks are balancing on that. This is most important to us. Your knowledge and skills are important. But what is most important is the attitude which connects you to society and your organization. Among the three things that I have, glass, fork and toothpick. Toothpick is fragile, it can be burned. That means in your life, your attitude is more tested than your knowledge and skills. If your attitude is firm, in spite of being burned several times, it will not drop your knowledge and skills. Please watch carefully. I slowly lift the glass up now. You can see. Still knowledge and skills are held together by the attitude. Now I push the attitude out. When I push the attitude out, the knowledge and skills also fall down. Therefore, the most important aspect in life for success is not the knowledge, not just the skills. It is the attitude a person carries. Ultimately, that holds him in difficult times and make him successful in good times.
All right, so that speaks about knowledge, skills, and attitude. Three things. The most important thing is not the skills, not the knowledge, but how we are connected to the organization and to the society at large. That's the knowledge. You can see the toothpick is very fragile, but it still holds the fork and the two forks together because it is being tested from the inside. So if you're within the inside, if you're strong enough emotionally, no matter how difficult the circumstances are, you can still survive. Now the situations are very difficult. We know about the economic downturn, the situation in Gulf country but if you can face it, if you can face the situation with courage, okay, understanding the situation with certain determination, there is no difficulty in overcoming any challenges without any issue. Now, let me take at this point a small pause here and invite you to join me in one game. I think you might have heard about Kahoot as a game. If not, can you log into Kahoot here? www.kahoot.it and not kahoot.com, kahoot.it. You don't have to download the app. Just go to www.kahoot.it and key in the game pin 4640701. I'm sorry for this. Yeah, you can see the people who are joining in kahoot.it. There are so far 10 players. So the more players, it'll be fun. It's an individual game on emotional intelligence. The quizzes, you have to look at the screen which is displayed here. And on your mobile, you'll be getting only the answer keypads. So you'll be having the color codes for entering your answers, sometimes 2, sometimes 4. You have to choose the right option to enter the right answers. Kahoot.it, Kahoot, if you have played before, you must know that it is not a game, not just based on the accuracy, but also on the speed. The faster you give the answer, you get higher marks. All right. So there are only 10 questions, and I've just made a small Kahoot of 10 questions so that we can finish this on time. So we have got 26 players, and we are starting soon because we don't want to waste any more time. Others also can join. You will see the Kahoot, the number later on also. So here we start. All of you have to listen, observe carefully what is happening on the screen, and keep your mobile pads ready. Okay, here we start. The 10 questions starting from 1. Ten seconds more. We have got 16 people who got it right. Okay, that's very good. They are likely to, those with higher inter EI are likely to have a physical and mental health. That's a correct answer. Let's see the ranking over there. In the first round, you can see Mr. Sumant is on top with 940, followed by RJ, then Ashwini, Mitesh, NR. These are the ones. Well done. Let's go to the next one. So remember, accuracy and speed both matters. Okay. Okay, we've got 20 people who got it right. Okay, and let's see the score at this moment. Okay, so you can see that there is Mitesh coming on the second position, then Sumant, RJ, Ashwini, AGP. So only the 5 people are shown here. Okay, up to 10 places. Jerry is the highest climber. Next question. $15 people who got it right. Okay, so let's see the position. Yes, Sumant holds on to the first position. Mitesh, Ashwini, A, J, B, and J. Up to 10 places, Ravi is the highest climber. Okay, let's go to the next one. Right, we have got 15 correct answers here. Okay, let me move this down. Yeah, 15 correct answers, and let's see that. Okay, the position again, there's a change here. Other than Sumant is holding on the first position on the top, then followed by J, AJB, Ashwini, Ganesh. So we have 3 new people coming up. Okay, you can see that up to 10 places. Gupta is the highest climber in it. Well done. Okay, let's go to the next question. Ready? It should be lightning fast with accuracy. Okay, a whopping 13 people have answered here, with 22 people getting the right answer. Let's see the position. Oh, there's a change there. Okay, Sumant and Ashwini has the highest answer streak of 5. So you can see that, see Ashwini is on fire. You can see there's a flame next to that with hot pursuit. Okay, Ganesh has also come up. and J and AJB. Okay, I think you know this initials. I'm not sure about that. Let's go to the next question. Ready? Right, we have 28 people who said, 2 people said no. Okay, they will not have better relationships anyway. So 7th question. Okay, so these are the answers with 28 people getting the right answer. And here we have Sumant, Ashwini, Ganesh, Hari, there's a new person, and then Jay. Yeah, so these are the, Sumant has a streak of 7 correct answers in a row. So Sumant is on fire. Okay, right. Let's go to the last few questions. Here we go. Okay, here we have, there's close self-motivation, but it's on self-awareness. That's a correct one. 16 people got it right. AJB is making a comeback with 3 in a row. AJB is on fire. And then Sumant, Ashwini, Ganesh, Jay, and Mitesh. So we have the last couple of questions going. So let's see what it is. People answered, and again, yeah, that's very close to it. It's social awareness. Okay, it's a social awareness, not the skills developing others, and political awareness and other qualities. So it's of a general awareness. And here we see that, there's a change there. Someone for the first time, I think, has gone to number 2, second position. Ashwini has come up to the first position, and Ganesh, Mitesh, AJB. Okay, and here we go to the last question. Okay, I can hear your heartbeats. Here we go. People got it right, and that was the last question. And let's see the podium finish of this quiz. The third position for AJB, well done. The second position for Sumant, and the first position is for none other than Ashwini. Well done. Let's put a runners of Ganesh and Mitesh. Well done with this. Okay, well done with the game. Thank you so much, and well done with this. Let's wind up the last segment of it. Okay, let's go to the last segment of it. Have you enjoyed that? Have you enjoyed?
Dr. Binu, it was an excellent game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I think we are.
Even though I lost many, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tess. Yeah.
It was great fun.
Okay, let's go to the last segment. Now, the last segment, as I had promised, there's a 10 action tips on emotional intelligence, something which you can take it on, some takeaways from this session. Okay, actionable ideas on emotional intelligence. You don't have to exercise everything, but you can pick and choose. I do a few, which I will tell you. These are 10 things which are actionable ideas, how to improve your emotional skills. So that's what ultimately we are looking forward to, as many people say. I'll explain one by one. The first one is mindfulness meditation. So it helps to improve a lot of things, the pain tolerance, impulse control, and compassion. So it helps being able to think about your own thinking, and it helps to reduce stress, nervousness, and it scientifically has proven lots of benefits of mindfulness meditation. I think with most of the Indians who are there, I don't need to tell you about the mindfulness meditation. You can just Google it, or YouTube will show you more about the mindfulness meditation. Number two is something which you can practically do. When you have an emotionally upsetting situation, write it down on a piece of paper, because when you write it down on a piece of paper, your prefrontal cortex of the brain will capture this emotion. When you have a strong feel emotion, the act of naming it will diffuse the power of emotion, or it's called the amygdala or the lizard brain, because the prefrontal cortex and the language center get engaged. So you develop an emotional vocabulary to it. That is a second one. So you take it down. You know that you are naming it, you are nailing this particular emotion. The third one is cognitive behavioral therapy. Again, engaging in an emotion, what thoughts are leading to those emotions. So it's a kind of introspection. What is a distortion in my thought, and what is a rational response I should give? Second, a 4-step category of behavioral therapy. I have not practiced it, I have not done it, but this is something which, okay, let me just go back. Okay, this is what I have not done it, but yeah, something which can be thought of. The fourth one is changing your physiology. Now, changing your physiology is something when you are sitting and you are emotionally upset with the situation. Okay, can I just admit Mr. Samrat Kumar? Okay. Yeah, so when you're sitting and have an emotional upsetting moment, you just need to stand up. You just need to stand like a Superman. You just have to feel like you can stretch out your hands, or you can put the hands on your waist. Change your position. If you're sitting, you can stand. If you're standing, you can just walk, just move away from the situation. So change of physiology will create a change in the biochemistry within you. Standing in a powerful position will increase your dominance hormone and reduce the stress hormone. The stress hormone is called as cortisol. The dominance hormone is known as a testosterone. So this will reduce, it will change. It has been scientifically proven. This is a fourth step. The fifth step is the deep breathing exercise, which I do practice. I try my little attempts on it. It is very simple for that matter. You can do it wherever, and especially this is extremely useful for when you're becoming or getting angry. Breathing pattern, just 10 breaths would make a change in you. Inhale at the count of 4. Hold your breath at the count of 4. Exhale for the count of 8 with mouth open. We can just practice it with me if you want. Inhale with the count of 4. Hold to the count of 4. Exhale through the mouth with mouth open, count of 8. Now, this deep breathing pattern, even if you do it for 1 minute, even if you do it for 10 breaths, it will certainly, it's scientifically proven, and I can stand as a testimony to that. It will change your anger hormones from changing from anger to more calm nature. That's the fifth one, deep breathing exercise. Sixth one is again very simple. Architect a small win. Write down something that you will do. It can be washing of dishes now that you are at home, and many of the people are helping with the household chores, or sweeping the room, or cleaning the bathroom. It can be any simple, or spreading up your bedroom or anything. It can be cleaning something. Architect a small win, write it down on a piece of paper, 1 or 2 things, and strike it out and complete it, cross it off once you finish the task. It will create a sense of satisfaction, completion, victory, and you're ready to take on a bigger challenge. There's a 6th one, architect a small win. 7th one, help others in need. In many of the books that it is said there, in many of the religions preach about it, in all the, I think most of the religions speak about it. When you help others, when you help those who are in need, studies have shown that the mortality rate goes by 33% if we spend some time, and even if we spend 30 minutes or 1 hour every week in helping others. I'll speak about some of these books also which recommends it. So help others, it will create a lot of difference in your hormones. Empathy exercise, look at people, try to read people's emotion just by watching their non-verbals. That is the 8th one. Do not look at what they say, but empathy exercises. You can feel for the other people's distressing moments by looking at them. Number 9 is reframing. Now ask yourself how the situation will turn out to my advantage. In any situation, the impediment to action advances action. Okay, there are lots of books which have similar ideas written within. What stands in the way becomes the way, or reframing the obstacles as a way forward. When something is blocking you, that itself becomes a stepping stone. It's as if we are saying, the failures are the success, the stones to path to success. It is in the same way, no matter how difficult the situation, look about what happens if what is it going to do good for me? That is what speaking about. And the last one is, look at how people saying and not what. When people speak something, when there is words comes out from people's mouth with conflict, look at the tones of the words, look at the gestures, look at the voice of it. Always trust the non-verbals and not just the words. So these are the 10 actionable ideas which I would leave you towards the end. I have promised that I will give a copy of this main highlights to CA Ashwini so they can share it with you, the main highlights of this session. Okay, so we have so far covered the emotional intelligence and leadership. We said about the CAs and the money matters, the stress, and finally we said about the action ideas. So we said about the 4 quadrants of it. The first quadrant is self-awareness. The second one is self-management, leading to social awareness and relationship management. Thank you so much for your ardent participation and attendance. I really enjoyed the session. I never knew that it is almost going to be 5 o'clock. So in between, I asked C. Ashwini to give me some more time. So we thought of finishing at 4:45, but it's nearing to 5. So thank you so much. There are a few books for further reading towards the end of it. I will share this with you with this. And towards the end, if you have the mobile phone with you, can you look at this? Can you just use your smartphone and look at the QR code? Just focus your smartphone with your camera. It will take you to a website. Can you just give a feedback for the seminar? This is for my personal use. It's a feedback for it. You can just focus with your mobile phone. Let me reduce this so that you may be able to see what's being given here. Okay. Can you say just focus on this with your camera phone? Your camera will take you to a web page if you've got the newer version. Have you got it?
I think in the meanwhile, we can take some questions if possible.
Yeah, please.
So if some member wants to ask a question, you can unmute yourself and ask, or you can even type it in the chat window.
Okay. Okay, I'm just sharing this with you.
Yeah.
Is this a chat window?
Somebody has mentioned about stress reduction.
Okay, can I access that window?
Yeah, you can access it from the bottom part.
Okay. Since I'm sharing the screen, does it interrupt my, is it participants?
No, after participants, there's a poll. After poll, there's a chat.
Yeah, I'm not able to view that. Okay, let me see. Yeah. It comes different.
Options there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, somebody is speaking about, yeah. Could you please type in the, okay, let me just copy paste here so that those who want to access this page. Okay, somebody was speaking about the reduction of stress reduction.
Yeah.
Holding the of breath is not good for some health conditions. Yes, I accept that. Holding the breath is for people with difficulty in breathing. This can have, yeah, rightly pointed out. I don't know the name of it. iPhone. Okay. For the people who have difficulty in breathing, holding the breath may not be a right thing. They will have to look for the other options also. At the same time, general conditions, people who have no physical impediments or any health issues, yes, this is excellent. We'll need time to go through at our own pace. Okay, I think they're talking about Mr. Krishna Rao is speaking about the handout from, please put link in chat. Okay, can you just put the link in chat? I was trying to. Why is it shown to everybody in the meeting? Let me post. Okay, this is a link. If you can kindly go to the Padlet. This is a link for your feedback in general about it. I've just put some columns over there. Okay, so okay, I can see some of those. Okay, thanks for that. You know, you can even rate the comments also. You can put stars on it also if you want to rate it, or you can add a new comment to it. I'm just sharing that padlet.com. It's there on your chat window. So is there anything that you would like to talk about? It's 5:01. I know that time is precious.
True. I think it's been a wonderful session, and I'm sure even later on, if we have any questions, we can have more sessions, we can discuss, and we can always come back to you, maybe, Dr. Binu.
Oh, yes.
Can I stop the share screen, or can I share my screen?
Yeah, just stop sharing. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So as a appreciation from the Muscat chapter side, we would like to present you with a certificate, as felicitate you for this, and I would like everybody to please acknowledge, clap for an excellent presentation, engrossing, which kept all of us engrossed for these 2 hours.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Binu James Mathew, thank you so much. And I hand over to CA Deepak Gupta ji, who is our subcommittee member for Sohar, to please take over and propose a formal vote of thanks. CA Deepak Gupta, please.
Thank you, CA Ashwini. Thank you, Dr. Binu, for quite useful presentation on the emotional intelligence. We always respect your skills, sir, and binding people from all corners of the country in a very lucid presentation.
Thank you.
From self-awareness and self-control to the short videos, to the opinion poll, to solving, easy to simple problems, and the new dimensions of the famous rabbit and tortoise story, and our reaction to the different life situations. Excellent quiz game at the end. On behalf of the entire managing committee, I would like to thank you, sir, CBFS, our sponsors, all the members who have joined our on a long extended weekend holiday. I can see members joining from all far off regions like Sohar and Salala at the same time. We can even see the members from the GCC as well joining. Thank you everyone for your valuable time and contribution. The technology has really brought us together in these tough times of social distancing. Wish you happy Eid. We shall be bringing more such events in future for the benefits of all. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, Muscat Chapter.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and it was a real pleasure to have you all. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Binu. Thank you very much.
Have a good evening. Bye bye.
Good evening to you.
Thank you. Thanks.